Hello, welcome back. This is chapter second, poem third, A Tiger in the Zoo, written by Leslie Norris. And today I'm going to explain stanza first and second to you. So here we go. So before starting the explanation part, let me give you some idea of the poem. Here, through this poem, the poet has brought out a contrast in the life of the ferocious wild animal in two different setups. The poet points out how it should behave in its natural surrounding, and so he repeats he should to emphasize the idea, to emphasize the point. In its natural surrounding, the tiger develops its natural instincts. It remains free and moves about freely, but under confinement, though it has all the qualities to develop into a good hunter, these traits of a tiger remain unutilized and therefore useless. It finds itself helpless inside a zoo. So this is about the poem. Now let's begin the line by line explanation of the two stanzas of the poem. Let's see. So here we go. His tucks and his vivid stripes, the few steps of his cage, on paths of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. So here we find the tiger inside a cage, inside the confined space. So how he behaves in confined space, in a confined space, in confinement or under confinement. So what he does there, he stalks in his vivid stripes. Naturally, a tiger has stripes and the colors are so bright. So, with the brightness of his color of the body, the tiger stalks, that is, moves about quietly, secretly, as if following someone. That is, his movement is very slow. It's not fast. It moves as if following someone secretly. That is, there is no wilderness in the tiger. It's not running about. It's not running and chasing at as a tiger is seen in jungle, just moving quietly, taking short steps and moving quietly. The few steps of his cage and his moving the few steps. Here, by few steps, the poet tries to indicate, tries to bring home the idea that the confined space, the cage or the confined area is not sufficient for the tiger, because the tiger is used to living in jungle, and where a complete area, a whole area remains under his domination. But here he has to he has to move about in a very limited space, in a very confined area. That's why the poet has used a few steps of his cage. On paths of velvet quiet in his quiet rage, and he is moving on his velvet paws. The paws are very soft naturally. the paws of all the, you can say, such animals, such a cat, the animals of the cat family are very soft, spongy, very spongy, soft, just like velvet. Here, the poet has compared it with velvet. Velvet is a fabric which is very soft. So he compares it with velvet, which is very soft and quiet. In his quiet rage, and his rage is also very quiet. He is moving about, and there is no sign of a wild animal in this tiger, and this tiger in the zoo. Otherwise, if you find a tiger in the natural surrounding there, the tiger is found to be very wild, growling and running, chasing the prey. So everything is there. There is the wild nature is found, the swiftness of the movement is found, and there is also the wide range that it gets there in the forest. That is also seen. So this is the first stanza. Now move to second stanza. We're moving to second stanza now. He should be lurking in shadow. Now the poet has seen the tiger in the zoo. He is not very happy with his behavior because uh, because a tiger looks better, a tiger develops better, a tiger seems better there in the natural surrounding, and here the tiger gives this a creature gives very awkward kind of feeling to the poet, and he says that he should be lurking. This tiger should be lurking, should be hiding in shadow, should hide itself in the shadow, should not move about so openly as in the cage, should be hiding in shadow. Shadow means darkness, so that it can hide, it can cover itself. Let's say the tiger, he can hide himself in the darkness, so that he remains out of the sight of the prey, out of the sight of the food, his food, that is the other creatures. Sliding through long grass, and he should be sliding through long grass, moving quietly, silently through the long grass, because long grass helps him remain undetected, unseen, and so in that way he can launch a sudden attack on his prey. Near the water hole, and he should be seen near the water hole, but here we find him in a confined space. So near some water hole means near some water body, some source of water where animals, jungle animals, come there regularly for water. So that is the best place for the tiger to be seen, so that there the tiger can find his prey, his food, where plum deer pass, and that is the place where the plum deer, healthy deer pass, or healthy deer come and they come for water there, and that provides the best opportunity to the tiger to get his food. So this is the explanation of the first two stanza. Let's talk about the poetic device used here. So if you look at the last line, the end of last line and the first stanza, so there you'll find a particular pattern of the sound. at the end of each line. So here, if you look at nicely and closely, you find stripes, which you can mark as A, then cage, B, and then quiet, C, none of them matching so far, and then the fourth line, that is B. So here, second and fourth line, or second and fourth, the end of the second and fourth line rhyme with each other. So it comes, the rhyming scheme of first stanza comes as A, B, C, B. Same is there, if you look closely, the second stanza, the same is the case in the second stanza as well. Here also shadow A, grass B, whole C, and the last pass is B again. So here too, or the end of the second and fourth line rhyme with each other. So second line rhymes with the fourth line in both these stanzas here. And here, as you can see, the poem starts with he. He is generally used for for a person, and here it has been used for an animal, that is a tiger. And so this is a case of personification. When a creature, when an animal is given the human qualities, there it is known as personification. Then we can find here the repetition of S, stocks, and stripes, and this is the case of alliteration. This poetic device is known as alliteration. Then if you look again in the same line, or no, in the first line only, so yes, in the first line, so there you find the repetition of I sound, and this is a case of assonance, this poetic device in which the vowel sound, the same vowel sound, is repeated. It is known as assonance. In the second line, there is the repetition of E sound, again assonance. And the last line, we have the repetition of I sound, and this is known as, again, assonance. In the second stanza, we have alliteration again. In the first line of second stanza, S has been repeated twice here. So this is a case of alliteration, a poetic device. And in the last line, we find, in the first stanza only, we find quiet rage, which is a case of oxymoron. Oxymoron is a poetic device in which contrasting ideas are placed side by side. So here, quiet rage. Rage cannot be quiet. Rage means anger. Anger is never quiet. And that's why this is a case of oxymoron. So this is it. And in the second stanza, we have alliteration, as I have already said. The first line shows alliteration as sound is repeated, and besides this, here we find enjambment. That is the lines. The end of the lines are without any punctuation mark. So if you can see closely, the second, third, here no punctuation mark has been used. So this is a case of enjambment. So this is all for now. Thank you.